And how, oh how, has bone density Bonnie and one leg Carl and their experience have anything to do with your health, your vitality, your weight loss today in this moment? Now, of course, we're going to talk about exactly that here. So let me actually, what I'm going to do, what am I doing? I'm going to screen share. This is what we're doing so that we can get to a little slideshow, because who doesn't love pictures? I know, me too. So today we are going to be talking about the lymphatic system. And as you can see from this picture behind, the lymphatic system actually runs through your entire body. We very often don't think about the lymphatic system until something is not going right. But understanding how this system works and how you can do little small tweaks and changes in your life literally right now, today, to increase your metabolism, your immune system, your body's ability to, we call it losing weight, but we know that's not really what happens, right? You don't really lose anything. Your body has to metabolize the stored energy and get rid of the toxins that are stored inside of those cells. So how the body does that is when things are functioning and flowing properly. And your lymphatic system is one of the most important systems in your body that need to be flowing properly for you to lose weight, for you to have the energy, the vitality, the clarity, the health that is that you desire, but most importantly, that you deserve. Yes. I'm claiming it right here. You deserve to be happy and healthy and free to the best of your body's ability in this life here. So what the lymphatic system does is it carries nutrients to the cells and toxins away from the cells, but it doesn't have a pump like your cardiovascular system has your heart to pump the blood throughout the body, making sure that there is constant movement in your system. So think about this. What happens when your heart slows down too much? That's right, not awesome. Your cells don't get the necessary nutrients or the oxygen that they need. Nothing works right. We don't feel well. And if it kind of stays at that low level, we just continue living our lives blah and not feeling great until eventually it just stops and we're no longer alive. Now, of course, I'm going to, okay, so on a different screen here. So there we go. Cool. So it's like the difference with like your cardiovascular system and your lymphatic system. It's kind of like the way in which they work and the necessity of and the need for the flow of things. It's kind of like the difference between these two bodies of water. Now, one is constantly in flow. You can see that it's beautiful, it's healthy, it's clean. Depending on where it is, you might even be able to drink that water. Things are coming and going as they should. There's always in motion, always in movement. Now, the movement allows for a healthy system. There's no backup of bacterial growth or stagnation of unwanted things. Now, the human body is very similar to the bodies of water on the earth. In fact, we're about the same percentage. The human body is about 70 to 80% water. So is the earth, about 70 to 80% water. So we thrive best with movement. The lymphatic system, that system that we were just talking about that runs through your entire body, bringing nutrients to the cells and toxins away, is 95% water. This is another reason why making sure that you are hydrated is extremely important to the proper functioning of your body, your weight loss, your energy, your metabolism. So it's important that this system is always in movement or things stagnate, just like this, excuse me, dirty little puddle over here. I mean, you can see, right? I mean, everyone knows what it's like when water stops moving. Things begin to grow, it gets dirty, there's bacteria, there's fungus, there's all types of things that you don't want in there that start to live in there. Same with our bodies. We do not want any part of our system stagnating. Now, when in a good flow, Your lymphatic system, as part of your immune system, is constantly fighting off things that are not you and protecting all the parts that are you. And we were talking about the signals getting crossed, and that's why we often end up with autoimmune and all other kinds of dis-eases in the body, is when the system is not clear on what is you and what is not you. And it starts to actually fight our own cells. Remember, we were talking about that when we were talking about the thyroid last week, and how common it is to have autoimmune against your thyroid because the signals have been crossed and the body got confused. So the lymphatic system helps defend the body against illness-causing germs, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. The system builds immunity by making special white blood cells called lymphocytes that produce antibodies, which are responsible for immune responses that defend the body against disease. Now, there are two types of lymphocytes: B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Now, B lymphocytes make the antibodies, and T lymphocytes help kill tumor cells and help control immune responses. Now, the lymphoid organs are really interesting. Okay, there's the bone marrow. Bone marrow is like a sponge-like tissue found inside the bones. There's the thymus. Remember, we were talking about the system that is related to all the other systems, but your energy, your mood, part of what is in your thyroid response. So your hormonal system, your thymus, that's like right here, kind of in the center of your chest. It's located behind the breastbone above the heart. You have your lymph nodes. So some of us know about the lymph nodes because sometimes they'll get swollen, right? Like, you're like, oh, my tonsils, oh, my lymph, they get swollen when there's some immune activity going on. There's small little bean-shaped tissues found along the lymphatic vessels. But look at all of them. They're throughout your entire body, literally your entire body. And the blood vessels, you can see in this like cool round picture here, that the blood vessels are intertwined with the lymphatic system, again, bringing nutrients into the bloodstream and taking toxins away. Now, your spleen is part of that, helps cleanse the blood. Our tonsils are part of that. That's part of our lymphs and our mucous membranes. That all of these different pieces work together to make sure that things are moving and flowing and that you're feeling really good, healthy, and vibrant and alive. But again, and we're going to get to this in a moment, but this system does not have a pump like your cardiovascular system has your heart. We're going to talk about how this system moves in a moment and how we get stagnant. But let's just look at a couple of symptoms real quick here. There are 19 symptoms of a clogged immune system. A backed up and stagnant lymphatic system is swelling in your fingers, stiffness when you wake up, cold hands and feet, which was a similar one to the thyroid. And again, all these systems work together. And so when we, and I'm not saying that, every medication that we've ever taken is not a good idea. I mean, I've taken them, I've given to them to my son, of course. Like, for certain instances, it totally makes sense. However, if we just keep putting a Band-Aid on issues and not really addressing the underlying cause, if that stagnation is still there, it's going to come out in some other way. So, we can take a medication for one organ, and then if there's still stagnation and things are not in flow, then we're going to have all other kinds of symptoms. We're never really going to address the issue. Okay, so the cold hands and feet, the brain fog, the chronic fatigue, depression, bloating, excess weight, food sensitivities, digestive issues, dry or itchy skin, sinus infections, increased colds and flus, weakened immunity, enlarged lymph nodes, allergies, unexplained injury and illness, constipation, parasites. And I'm sure this list could go on. Again, when things get backed up, and we are mostly water, right? When things slow down and are not moving as they should, things begin to grow, and then we don't feel so great. So the lymphatic system clears away the infection and keeps our body fluids in balance. If it's not working properly, fluid then builds up in our tissues, causes swelling called lymphedema, and other lymphatic system problems, which include infections, blockages, and even cancer. So what causes the lymph nodes to swell? Well, lymph nodes become swollen in response to illness, infection, and stress. Swollen lymph nodes are one sign that your lymphatic system is working to rid your body of responsible agents. Again, it knows what it's doing. And so when we talk about stress, remember there is the external stress of life happening and us not really being too thrilled about that and being frustrated and disappointed and all that jazz. There is also the internal stress that we put on our system when we're eating packaged and processed and garbage foods. Things that we call food, but they're not actually food because they're not actually giving our body any nutritional value for maintenance and growth. Remember, we talked about that in a power lesson a few weeks ago. Again, if you ever miss any of these power lessons, you can always go back into the videos, or if you go into where it says topics, that's one of the sections in here. Under topics, that says power lessons, and they should all be in there as well. Okay, so wait a minute. What? Rose, I'm freaking out. I have all these symptoms. I don't know what to do. What are you even talking about here? If it doesn't have a pump, how does it get moving? Like, how can I get in the flow of this? I don't have the time. I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, what can I do? Okay, well, that's clearly why we are here today, is one, to educate ourselves so we understand a little bit more about this body that you have. You were born with it. From the moment that you were conceived till this very moment, to the moment that you die, you have this incredible, fabulous, marvelous, like beyond comprehension and understanding body that is interacting with the environment and with our thoughts and with our life and with everything that is happening, the constant changing, and it's constantly adapting. It knows what to do. We don't have to be afraid. However, if we don't understand something, that's all that we have, is the fear of it when it's confusing. So hopefully what we're going to be doing today is kind of, piecing apart, giving you a little bit of understanding about how the different systems work together, and then some very clear, specific guidance on what you can do right now today. And you know what? You're probably already doing some of them, especially if you've been in my group for a little while. You hear me kind of repeating the same things over and over from a different angle, right? But we're all climbing up that same mountain of health and vitality. We're just kind of coming at it from different ways, but it's the same idea. Okay, so first of all, we want to talk about like what is happening here. Rose, you mentioned NASA, you mentioned a lady who couldn't leave her home because she was caretaking, so she didn't have time to get out. You mentioned a guy that had one leg. These people wanted to lose weight, they wanted to be healthy. I want to lose weight and be healthy. Like, what do these things have to do with each other? So one of the things that I learned along the way is this incredible, super easy, fun trampoline. What are we even talking about? Okay, so NASA sent up their people to space where there was no gravity and there was no real, exercise or that kind of stuff up there. And the astronauts came back and their muscles had atrophied, they had lost bone density, and they were unbalanced. And so, of course, NASA, they were like, put all hands on deck. Like, we have to figure this out. We can't have people coming back just like floppy skin and bones, right? Like, we need these people healthy and vibrant and alive. What can we do? And what they discovered was that the simple act of the rebounding, so that trampoline, that compaction, they said that the rebound exercise is the most efficient and most effective form of exercise yet devised by man, because it does not just strengthen the muscles, it strengthens every single cell of the body, both muscle and non-muscle. It strengthens the bones, cartilage, joints, every organ of the body. The liver, pancreas, kidneys, brain, etc., are all subjected to the increased gravitational force of rebounding and will respond by growing stronger. In doing so, they build up increased resilience to disease. As a result, all of the systems and organs of the body function more efficiently. What? So this is the one thing that my client who could not leave the house, who is super stressed out, who knows that she already ate well, and she just needed to do something simple that was easy on her joints and her back. She was 74 years old. Her doctor told her that she needed to increase her bone density and reduce her stress. So she came to me. Obviously, I put her in the protocol of my program, and she went home and bought I almost said a treadmill, not the treadmill. She bought a rebounder. And of course, because she was a little bit older and needed the balance, you can get them with the extra stand to hold on to, like while you're increasing your balance, because it helps with that as well. And it was about 6 months later, her doctor called me and was like, "This is incredible. I've never seen a 74-year-old woman increase her bone density. What is happening?" I'm like, "I know, it's NASA. Isn't it so cool?" So incredible. So she went on, she just did like while she was watching TV, and it wasn't like the super crazy, giant trampoline that you get where the kids are, jumping 50 feet into the sky. It does not have to be that dramatic. Just this little bit. It's easy on the joints. It's easy on the back. It increases bone density. It increases your muscles. It increases everything. But another thing that it does, which NASA did not mention here, but I know, is it gets your lymphatic system moving. It is the compaction and the way that it goes down. So movement, when we do things like that, so walking, jogging, running, dancing, even just stomping your feet, right? So you don't have to go out and buy nothing. Even just stomping your feet, what it does is it gets the lymphatic system moving. Another thing that gets the lymphatic system moving is your lungs. Again, when we are stressed out, and just going to keep repeating this until we get it, there's one thing that all negative emotions have in common. It's the restriction of the breath. We go in, we tighten, our breathing becomes shallow. What that does is it stagnates the lymphatic system, which means that it stagnates your immune system, your body's ability to process stress, and it is awful. Again, I'm sure there's some, reason for it biologically, evolutionarily, and also because that kind of stress didn't last for very long, but it does in these days. Right? We are bombarded by all of this stuff that just keeps us tense. And so when we roll our shoulders back, when we lift our chin upward, and we take those big, long, deep breaths, like I did every single day for our tea times, and which I do every time before any of my coaching calls, which I do every time I wake up in the morning, anytime it crosses my mind, oh my God, I'm stressed out, or if I even think, oh yeah, I'm breathing, I roll my shoulders back a little bit. I take in a few long, deep breaths. Your lymphatic system is connected to your lungs. When you breathe deep, that is the pump that your lymphatic system needs to flow and flow effectively, to flow properly, to be literally in the flow. When we talk about being in the flow, right, when we just feel like things are okay, like they are right, like things are functioning properly, like we're doing the right thing at the right time. That is a feeling and sensation. It is dynamically linked to our physical body. It is really hard to feel that way mentally when our physical body is tight and constricted, when it is not in the flow, when it is stagnant. Another thing that we need to make sure that we do is drink water. Water, Lord, water. And it's one of those things that even all like traditional medicine doctors are like, I know, like you're bloated and I'm telling you to drink more water. Well, that's because the system that is going to unbloat you, right, that is going to process all of that is the lymphatic system, and it needs water. It's 95% water. So actually, when we get dehydrated, the body pulls from other sources that fluid, and it hangs on to everything that it's got, because it's like we're not in flow. Same thing with the stagnation of that river. So we want to be in flow. Make sure that you're getting at least, not too much more than this, but getting about half your body's weight in ounces of water, fresh, clean, wonderful water a day. That means if you're 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. If you're 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. Okay, so I just want to give you one more thing about the rebounder. So Frank Suarez is author of The Power of Your Metabolism. He says that NASA uses trampolines to exercise the astronauts when they return from space missions because it helps them regain their balance and recuperate their muscles after prolonged periods of time being in space without gravity. NASA has noted that astronauts lost a considerable amount of their bone and muscle mass while in space and reported a compromise in balance. However, trampolines negate these effects. It's a crucial breakthrough in the development of space exploration and our health, right? So many times it's like we want to do better, we want to do well, but it's like, whatever the life choices and situations and all the stuff have gotten us to a place where it feels like nothing we do is good enough. And I am here to tell you that is BS. That is a simple belief system that you've held on to for a long time. And the reality is, little simple twists in your routine do make a big difference. Do you need to do them consistently to really, see and feel the difference? Probably. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be a huge upheaval right now, right? Like we don't need to, get ready for Freddy where it's like, okay, I'm going to be a completely different person. I'm going to exercise 3 hours a day. I'm never going to eat this again. And I'm going to start on this day and it's going to be like this. That's all that it's going to be. Well, that's a recipe for disaster, like mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, physically. It's really hard to get all of those levels on board at the same time. So if you're waiting for that to happen, which I did for years and years and years and years, waiting for that magical moment. And then what happens is that any little chink in us not being, quote, perfect to our perfect ideal. And it's like, oh, well, whatever, all right, forget it. I'm going to do all those, all my old habits that I did. I'm going to go back to them because I just need to, and I'll start again on Monday. Oh, Lord, the cycle. So really what we want to do here is we want to go, okay, you know what? Maybe every day I'll just be 1% better. Just 1%. I'm just going to take it slow. I'm going to take a deep breath. Now that you know that that deep breath is not just stimulating your autonomic nervous system, which is oh man, I just totally spaced on the name of that. Your rest and digest system, right? So it does, right? Taking that deep breath, pausing, right? That relaxation response, yes. And it also stimulates your lymphatic system. So now you're in flow and you're drinking a nice glass of refreshing water. And now you're more in flow and your body can do it. And you know what? Maybe you want to buy a little trampoline. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to do a little dancing and stomp your feet around a little bit and know now that what you're doing is moving the system. You are getting into flow like that beautiful, wonderful river, that clean river and lake that just feels good and is healthy and vibrant. Okay, so another thing that you can do, so the breathing, 5 rounds, those deep breaths for, hold it as long as you can and then pause and then breathing out nice and slow. Typically what I like to do is purse my lips a little bit because it ends up slowing down that out breath, which is really what you want to do there. You can also get a massage if that's your jam, right? There are plenty of masseuses that literally are trained in doing lymphatic drainage massages. And so they go into, and you can physically move your lymphatic system. Again, it's a system that moves throughout your entire body. So you can do that scratching, that rubbing on your skin. There's those cool little brushes, those bristle brushes, that you can scrape the skin so it gets off the dead skin, but it also stimulates your lymphatic system. You can massage different points. There's also tapping. So, and it really reminds me of just like innately, naturally, instinctually, that's what the word I'm looking for here, instinctually, when we do a prayer, we put our hands together and the thumbs kind of go right in that chest area. Well, this area right here is right where our thymus is. Well, our thymus is part of our lymphatic system that, again, needs to be moved. It doesn't have a pump. Well, it has your lungs, but it doesn't have like a pump like your heart, right? So if we're like kind of breathing shallow and we're kind of stressed out a lot, there's not a lot of movement. And again, if we want to physically move that energy so it's not all stagnant and staying inside of us and being upset, we can simply tap right in this middle area here. And you might have seen that in different you know, kind of like energy healing modalities and things like that. Or if someone's sad, they kind of just like naturally kind of just like start, you know, kind of tapping right in this area. It's really beautiful, wonderful way to get some of that movement going. Just start doing it. If you ever feel upset, just a little tapping right here and a few deep breaths. Okay, so let's stop the share now, and I'm going to come in so I can face you beautiful ladies. Hello. I'm just going to jump into the group real quick and see if there are any questions for me on this topic, our beautiful system. What about jump roping in place of a rebounder? Yes, girlfriend. April Bell on the nose. Exactly. You're starting to get it. There are so many little things that we can do that stimulate the different systems in our body and get things moving. Yes. A little just, you know, tapping like this, even in place, you know, it's like 5 minutes. Or you know what? If you're like totally into the TV, even if you just got up and like during the commercials, right? Like, all right, when it's a commercial, I'm just gonna like, you know, stomp on the feet. Also, okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. Thank you, April, for reminding me. The guy that had one leg, what did he do? What does this have to do with it, right? So there was the lady who increased her bone density, lost weight, got her lymphatic system going with the rebounder, which that was amazing. But this guy, he was just like, he was so overwhelmed and frustrated. He had so much extra weight that he couldn't, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we'll go do pull-ups or something like that, or like move yourself around. He was like, I can't do it. So what he did is he actually got like a chair and one of those exercise balls that you sit on, you know, those like cool big ones that you can go backwards and like, you know, whatever, crack your back or just sit on. And they say that's a little bit more ergonomical for like when you're at work. So he got one of those balls and he wasn't really going to be doing a lot of jumping on one leg. That wasn't really his jam, or on the trampoline, but he sat on that ball, and even the sitting and just going like, you know, like this, like that bouncing movement got his lymphatic system going, and he began to have an increased balance, increased energy. He went on to lose, I think, like 40 or 50 pounds, and he was feeling better and looking better, and it was really quite incredible. So yes, ladies, oh God, what's this guy's name? Sam something. I'll look him up for next time. But he was a man who was at his 100th birthday. He decided that he's like, well, I'm still alive and I don't really feel that great, but I've never really given it my all to like get into health. At 100 years old, he decided that he was going to get his health together. He ended up winning the senior shot put. I believe his name was Sam, and he was wearing this shirt that said, oh, to be 100 again. It was really cute. And one of the things that he said was that, you know, he's like, listen, he's like, you can still build muscle. I know, I get it. It's like, oh, hormones, oh, age, oh, you know, this issue, this disease, that. Yes, all of those things do have an effect, and they don't have as big of effect as we like to tell ourselves that they do, because really that's just an excuse sometimes to not be moving forward. And so what it is that we eat and what it is that we do does make a difference. And so all those little things do make a difference in our health and our vitality. So yeah, great question, April. Thank you for asking that. Alrighty, ladies, that was so much fun. The lymphatic system is one of my absolute favorites because we never really talk about it, and we don't really like understand totally how that all fits and works together, and just the little things that we can do to increase our health. All right. I love you. You are amazing and wonderful. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.